loving kindness, and the mindfulness-based relapse prevention. Metta, or loving kindness, is a core practice in the Theravada tradition where Vipassana meditation has its roots. The practice typically involves bringing attention to a set of phrases intended to cultivate friendliness and kindness toward oneself, friends, and loved ones, strangers or neutral people, those who are challenging, and finally toward all beings. Self-judgment and self-criticism are pervasive and palpable in our culture, and perhaps even more so among individuals with histories of addictive behavior. Not only do these individuals often internalize the judgment and stigma they have experienced from society and family, but they frequently have difficulty forgiving themselves for the negative consequences that have arisen as a result of their substance use or other behaviors. Thus, we appreciate the need for cultivation of friendliness and warmth toward oneself as central to recovery and healing. We include aspects of metta and forgiveness in several of the meditation instructions, and a formal metta practice in the final 2 sessions. In the Mindfulness-Based Relapse Prevention Program, we often refer to this practice as kindness, rather than metta or loving kindness, depending on the population and how we anticipate such terms might be received. Some may have resistance or expectations associated with the word love, which is typically associated with romantic love. We also modify the domains. Example, do not include the neutral or difficult person, and just practice sending well wishes to a loved one, followed by sending those to oneself. The focus is on noticing one's experiences while doing this, rather than an attempt to cultivate a particular emotion or feeling. Postures in practices. Postures during practices, which might seem a minor issue, can be helpful to address. Although some participants may choose to sit in chairs because of physical concerns, many may choose to use cushions or mats on the floor. A facilitator joining those on the floor often creates an atmosphere of familiarity and shared experience, shifting the role of the facilitators from authorities to fellow meditation practitioners. However, it may also inadvertently foster the notion that mindfulness practice requires adopting a special posture, is outside of an individual's cultural context or framework, and is something that is primarily practiced on the cushion rather than in daily life. Sitting or lying down on the floor may also increase drowsiness or laxity in posture. Having a single zafu or similar cushion for each participant placed underneath each chair may allow experimentation with sitting postures, while also maintaining some of the formality of practice. However, in the event that cushions are unavailable, all of the practices can be engaged in while seated in a chair. We recommend that facilitators experiment in their groups and find what feels best to themselves and their participants. We also recommend, especially in early sessions, sharing the intention of posture, example, using the body to help cultivate certain attitudes or qualities of attention in the mind. Common misconceptions. The increased popularity of mindfulness practice in the broader culture over the past decade has resulted in a proliferation of the language and some of the practices in popular culture. This has many potential benefits and also some potential causes for concern. The popularization has included messaging around what practice should look like and who has access to practice and who doesn't. How many photos have we seen on magazine covers of thin, conventionally attractive young women in flowing white clothing sitting on a mountain or beach in a perfect seated pose with a blissful smile on their face. These depictions foster unfortunate misunderstandings and expectations about mindfulness practice that often accompany participants as they walk into session 1. We find it useful to name these common misconceptions up front. For example, mindfulness practice does not always have a calm and quiet mind. Experiencing bliss, having to sit in a certain posture, only practicing under certain conditions, and so forth. As facilitators, we also keep eyes and ears open for when these misconceptions arise throughout the course, often in the process of inquiry. Sometimes they are directly expressed. That practice didn't work for me. I couldn't feel calm. And other times they show up in more veiled ways, such as doubt about oneself or the practice, being disengaged, or lack of attendance. These doubts and expectations, like anything else, can be turned into objects of awareness. Participants often worry, though they may or may not say it out loud without encouragement from the facilitator, that their mind is uniquely unsuited for mindfulness practice because it wanders or gets distracted. Naming the misconceptions and validating the participants' awareness helps normalize their experiences.